You know the pictures I'm talking about, right? You've seen them. The laptop perfectly placed on a beach, a fancy coffee in hand, with that caption, "My office for the day." It's the digital nomad dream, and man, is it sold to us as the ultimate freedom. But what if that picture is not telling you the whole story? Okay, let's get into it. Let's uncover the real, hidden price tag on that dream life.
Yeah, this quote from our source material just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It completely challenges that image we all have in our heads. It's saying, hey, what you're looking at, that's not freedom, it's something else.
And that's something else, it's a fantasy. A really, really appealing one for sure, but a fantasy nonetheless. It's like a siren song calling out to anyone stuck in a cubicle. But just like those old stories, that song comes with a hidden price, a financial reality that is way heavier than it looks.
So let's peel back that first layer of the fantasy and talk about the one thing you can't escape in life, besides, death: taxes. For a digital nomad, this simple fact of life morphs into an absolute nightmare of a web.
Okay, so here's the fundamental problem. You might be a citizen of, say, the US, working for a US company, but if you spend enough time in another country, we're talking more than 183 days in a place like Portugal or Thailand, bam, you can suddenly become a tax resident there too. So now you're not just dealing with the IRS anymore. You're on the hook for a whole other country's laws.
And this is where you see just how insane the complexity jump is. You're basically trading a simple, predictable system, one country, one tax code, for this multi-headed monster. It's not just about potentially paying more, it's the sheer administrative headache of trying to keep it all straight.
I mean, what this really boils down to is a maze. Do you know the tax code of every country you want to stay in? Do you know their specific reporting rules? How about the fine print on double taxation treaties so you don't pay taxes twice on the same dollar? Most people have no clue, and that means forking over a huge chunk of your income to expensive international tax advisors, all while living with the constant stress of just trying to follow the rules.
But wait, the fun doesn't stop with taxes. The dream is also built on this massive illusion of freedom. Because, being your own boss sounds incredible, but it often means you're giving up a deep and often totally invisible layer of security.
Just take a second and think about what you're leaving on the table. No company health plan, no 401k match to help you save for retirement, no paid sick days, and definitely no unemployment benefits if a big project falls through. All of those safety nets that you take for granted, poof, they're gone. And now it's 100% on you to replace them.
This metaphor from the source is just perfect. A steady paycheck, that's a reliable stream. But as a freelancer, your income is a river. Sure, one month it might be overflowing, but the next, you could find yourself in a serious drought, chasing down invoices just to pay your rent.
That volatility creates this constant, low-level hum of financial anxiety. Because you're not just doing the work you love. You are now the CEO, the head of marketing, the entire sales team, and the bookkeeper all rolled into one. The freedom you were chasing gets replaced by the heavy burden of running a one-person business.
All right, so you've somehow figured out the tax maze, and you're learning to live with the financial anxiety. But it's still worth it, because living abroad is so much cheaper, right? Well, let's talk about how that cheap life has a funny way of getting real expensive real fast.
It's a great question, isn't it? Because on the surface, yeah, a meal in Lisbon is way cheaper than one in New York, but your money is vanishing in 100 tiny ways you just don't see on a menu.
Think of it like a slow bleed. Every single time you transfer money, there's a fee. Every time you pull cash from a foreign ATM, boom, another fee. Your bank is probably giving you a lousy exchange rate. Your visa renewal costs way more than you budgeted for, and of course, you're constantly paying the unspoken tourist tax on things. None of these are huge one-off costs. It's a constant, steady drain on your bank account.
And that's not even counting the premium you have to pay for the absolute basics of your job. Your entire career depends on a fast, stable internet connection. In a lot of places, getting that kind of reliability means paying way more than the locals do, which just chips away even more at that supposedly cheap lifestyle.
Okay, let's bring this all home. The point here isn't to crush anyone's dream of traveling and working remotely. Not at all. It's about getting real. It's about moving from a social media fantasy into a solid financial reality.
When you get down to it, the version of the digital nomad life you see online has been completely sanitized. It's had all the tough stuff, the tax forms, the late-paying clients, the bank fees. It's all been edited out. You have to remember, this isn't just a long vacation. It's a complex financial operation.
So to actually make this work, to succeed at it, you need a lot more than just a passport and a laptop. You need meticulous financial planning. You need a really strong stomach for risk and uncertainty. And you have to have a crystal clear understanding of every single cost we've just talked about. And that right there is the biggest takeaway from this whole explainer. That beautiful, sun-drenched dream, it isn't free. It has a real, tangible cost. But knowing that cost and truly understanding it, well, that's the first and most important step to actually making the dream real in a way that can last.
So, the final question really is for you. This was never about whether the dream is worth it, because for a lot of people, it absolutely is. It's about being brutally honest about the cost. Now that you've seen the price tag behind the pretty pictures, are you really prepared to pay it?